Commander Zixthor studied the holographic display with the confidence of someone who had conquered 47 star systems. The blue-green planet rotating before him appeared unremarkable. Mostly water, moderate gravity, oxygen-nitrogen atmosphere. According to the Galactic Survey's database, it housed a species called humans with a threat rating of 2.3 out of 10. Primitive projectile weapons, his tactical officer reported. Chemical combustion for transportation, still reliant on fossil fuels. Their most advanced vessels barely breach their own atmosphere. Zixthor's mandibles clicked in satisfaction. Deploy the standard occupation protocol. 3,000 troops should suffice. What the Galactic Survey had failed to mention was that their data was 75 years old, and humans, as the Corinthian Empire was about to discover, had a peculiar talent for exponential growth when properly motivated. The invasion fleet entered Earth's orbit at dawn. Within minutes, their declaration of conquest was broadcast across every frequency humanity possessed. Zixthor expected panic, chaos, perhaps a few desperate military strikes that his shields would easily deflect. Instead, he got laughter. They think we still use gunpowder? Major Sarah Chen stood in the Pentagon's command center, watching the alien broadcast with barely concealed amusement. Did they not see the Mars colonies? The asteroid mining operations? Hell, we've had fusion drives for 30 years. Ma'am, they're landing ground forces in 7 major cities, her aide reported. Good. Let them land. Chen's smile was predatory. Then we'll give them a proper welcome. The first Corinthian landing party touched down in New Delhi. 300 soldiers in powered armor, weapons charged, confident in their superior technology. They had conquered worlds where civilizations wielded plasma cannons and force fields. These humans with their primitive projectile weapons would surrender within the hour. The street appeared empty. Then the air shimmered. Contact! A Corinthian soldier screamed as railgun rounds punched through their armor at supersonic speeds. The projectiles weren't primitive chemical bullets, they were magnetically accelerated tungsten penetrators traveling at Mach 7. The supposedly outdated projectile weapons had evolved. Worse followed. Human soldiers appeared from nowhere, personal cloaking fields flickering offline as they opened fire. Their armor wasn't bulky metal, it was adaptive nanoweave that could stop energy weapons while maintaining mobility. Within 12 minutes, the entire Corinthian landing party was neutralized. Similar scenarios played out in London, Tokyo, Sao Paulo, Lagos, Sydney, and Chicago. The aliens had vastly underestimated a species that had spent the last century preparing for contact with hostile intent. Aboard the flagship, Zixthor watched his tactical display with growing horror, as red markers indicating lost units multiplied across the globe. How is this possible? The data said, "The data was wrong, Commander," his science officer interrupted, tentacles trembling. "I've been analyzing their broadcasts. These humans, they've been to their moon. They've established colonies on another planet in their system. They've created artificial intelligence, all within a single century." A century? Zixthor's voice was hollow. The Corinthian Empire required millennia to achieve such milestones. Sir, we're detecting launches from the planet's surface. On the display, hundreds of bright points rose from Earth like angry hornets from a disturbed nest. Zixthor zoomed in on one and felt his primary heart sink. The missile, because that's what it clearly was, had already achieved velocities that should have been impossible for chemical propulsion. As he watched, it separated into multiple warheads, each maneuvering independently toward different ships in his fleet. "Evasive action," he commanded, but the humans had calculated their trajectories with terrifying precision. The first impacts came seconds later. Not explosive warheads, but kinetic penetrators moving at relativistic speeds. The physics was simple and brutal. Mass times velocity equals devastation. Against such weapons, even Corinthian shields were insufficient. 3 of his ships simply ceased to exist, torn apart by impacts that released more energy than fusion bombs. "We need to withdraw," his tactical officer urged. But pride, that universal constant among conquering species, made Zixthor hesitate. "Deploy the atmospheric fighters. They can't possibly." His words died as new contacts appeared on the display. Human fighters, sleek and impossibly fast, erupted from hidden bases across the planet. They moved with inhuman precision, their AI-augmented pilots executing maneuvers that would have liquefied organic tissue. The humans had simply removed the limitations of biology from their combat equation. The Corinthian fighters lasted 4 minutes. The final humiliation came when a single human ship rose to meet the fleet. It was smaller than Zixthor's flagship but moved with casual grace, clearly unconcerned by the weapons trained upon it. A communication channel opened. The human on the screen was young, female, and entirely too calm. Commander Zixthor of the Corinthian Empire. I'm Captain Maria Santos of the UESV Indomitable. On behalf of the United Earth Space Defense Force, I'm here to accept your surrender. Our surrender? Zixthor sputtered. You primitive. Your data is 75 years out of date, Santos interrupted. A lot changes in 75 years. We went from first flight to landing on our moon in 66 years. In the time since your survey, we've colonized 3 planets, created quantum communications, developed AI that makes your computers look like abacuses, and built weapons that can crack continents. Oh, and we did it all while fighting each other, which we've recently stopped doing. Mostly. She leaned forward, her expression hardening. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to withdraw your forces. You're going to return to your empire. And you're going to update your database with accurate information about humanity. Because the next species who comes here with conquest in mind won't get a polite conversation. They'll get the full demonstration of what happens when you threaten 8 billion angry, creative, stubborn primates who've spent their entire history finding new ways to kill each other, and have finally decided to point that ingenuity outward. Zixthor looked at his decimated fleet, at the thousands of human weapons still tracking his ships, at the planet below that had revealed itself to be not a soft target, but a fortress world bristling with technology his empire had taken millennia to develop. We surrender, he whispered. 3 months later, the updated galactic survey entry for Earth appeared in databases across known space. Species: human threat rating, 9.7 to 10 notes. Highly aggressive development curve. Recommend extreme caution. Do not rely on historical data. Capable of technological advancement at unprecedented rates when motivated by external threat. Approach for trade only. Avoid military engagement at all costs. Addendum. Humans describe their own first contact preparation doctrine as hoping for the best while planning for the worst. Recommend all species take them seriously on both counts. Beneath the entry, someone had added an unofficial note that quickly became infamous throughout the galaxy. When dealing with humans, remember, they didn't climb to the top of their food chain by being friendly. They did it by being the scariest thing in the room. Don't give them a reason to prove it.